So my name is Claire Cooke. I studied English literature at York. I joined Slaughter MA as a trainee back in September 2011, so I've been at Slaughters ever since, so just over 10 years. I was promoted to become a partner in one of our financing groups back in May this year, so all very new still. What attracted me to a career in law was, I think, the variety of the work, the challenge of the work, and I think kind of the driver for commercial law really was that actually I found, unexpectedly to myself even, that actually I found companies and corporates and the business world to be quite interesting. So it was kind of a combination of things I felt matched my skill set in terms of being quite analytical and enjoying problem solving and dealing with people, as well as actually sort of real world situations which I sort of really found interesting to study and work alongside. So my attraction to Slaughter MA was kind of a slow burn thing. So when I started university, I had no idea that this job really existed. So in my experience, a solicitor was either someone that worked on a little firm in the high street and did kind of conveyancing and wills and criminal work, or you were a barrister. So those were the kind of my experience of being law firms. And I think in my second year at university, I attended a kind of careers talk about being a commercial lawyer. And I thought, oh God, that actually sounds super interesting. So from there, I started doing research, found out a bit about Slaughters. The reputation was sort of scary, so I definitely spent a bit of time researching the firm, plucked up the courage to apply, and then I think when I sort of started reading about it and meeting people from the firm, either through law fairs or dinners where people came to the university, I found everyone to be really welcoming and nice and kind of normal, surprisingly maybe. But so I think I had a really great experience with everyone I met, and the work is really high quality. So I think that was kind of at university the kind of selling points for me. So my reaction when I found out I made partner, I was absolutely thrilled. Really surprised. If you'd told me 10 years ago this is where I'd be, I probably wouldn't have believed you. So it's felt like a really big achievement, and I was really, really pleased to get the news. So I found out when we were still in lockdown. So celebrations were a little bit dampened, but it was a really nice evening. So the work I do as a partner is different to the work I did as a senior associate, in the sense that actually you are responsible for managing a larger number of deals. So actually you have to entrust your teams to do more of the work that I would have done as a senior associate someone else is now doing. So it's definitely an adjustment. There's much more non-chargeable work, so it's an all-equity partnership, which I think is one of our really unique features and actually one of the things I really like about the firm. So it means that actually as partners we're also responsible for running the business. And that means that actually my day-to-day now involves things I find really interesting. So you interview future trainees, which is really great because it means that you get a say in the future of the business and the shape of the business. So alongside I'd say the biggest difference between being a partner and a senior associate is, number one, more deals and you're sort of across more things, and number two, actually you're not just doing the law anymore, you're also responsible for all these other kind of work streams, which is really great. So my area of expertise is in financing. So at Slaughters we do multi-specialism, and to kind of give some context to what that means, it means that as a financing lawyer I'll cover debt capital markets, banking work, derivatives work, I do an acquisition financing, I might do day-to-day corporate lending, and also I do a little bit on the restructuring side. So it means that actually I cover for a client, I'll cover their whole spectrum of financing needs, whether they're on top of the world and buying a new company and I'll help them raise the money to do that, or whether they're in financial difficulties and I'm helping them to sort of bridge a sort of challenging period with new financing. So it's a really, really broad area of work that kind of is my area of expertise, and actually that's one of the things I think's really great about the firm and how we operate and how we train our associates and trainees. So the highlight of my career so far has been a secondment to New York. So as an associate, I had asked to go to New York for one of our best friend firms. So I spent a little bit over a year as a secondment with Paul Weiss, which is one of our best friend firms in New York. And the reason that was such a great experience, I mean, number one, it's New York, what's not to like? So that was super fun. But I guess also, the work we do is so international, and particularly in the financing world, there's so much interaction between New York law and English law, and every transaction you do will involve counsel from another jurisdiction. So actually it was really great to actually be able to go across the pond and meet people and get to know them and get some sort of day-to-day experience of New York law and how that operates, because in practice, you'll come across it though, so you kind of build up relationships, and it's a really good way of kind of building your network and for sort of the future. So the thing I enjoy most about my career, I think, are the human interactions. I really like the fact that we have a huge variety of different people in the building. People have different backgrounds, different interests, different things that excite and motivate them. And I find it really rewarding working as part of a team with people that all have something different to bring to the table. So everyone has different views. It's not a hierarchical institution in a number of ways. If a junior associate is capable of taking on a more senior role, we would absolutely encourage them to do that. So I think it's one of the things I really enjoy is helping develop and nurture the talent that we get through our door, because I think we get loads of fantastic sort of people come and train with us, and I think it's a really, really rewarding part of the job. The thing that I enjoy least about the job is sort of one of the things I like. So one of the least enjoyable things about the job is unpredictability. You sort of can never quite predict what your day or week or month is going to involve. So that does mean, sometimes you have to cancel plans, or you don't get to do quite what you had always wanted to do. But actually, that is kind of the flip side of the fact that our job has a huge amount of variety. So it's sort of one of those things where, you'll have days where you think, oh, I wish I knew what tomorrow looked like. But actually, in the round, I think that's for me kind of the variety is a really good thing. What makes Law Firm A stand out? I think for me there are maybe 3 key things. So number 1, I think, is the multi-specialism. So I think it's a very different way of operating as a law firm, and I really enjoy it. I think it's a really good way of working, and I think it's quite unusual, but I think it's a great opportunity, particularly at the junior level, because I think you really get to find out what it is that you like and where your specialisms and expertise and interests lie, because you get to experience such a huge range of things. The second thing for me is the lack of billable hours targets, and I think that's not from the sense of you're not working hard. I think for me the way that's really important is actually that because there aren't targets, it means people are very generous with their time. So I think it really creates quite a collegiate and collaborative atmosphere internally, in that multi-specialism isn't the easiest way of practicing. It's challenging, and you've got to think lots, and you've got to learn new things all the time. But I think that works because no one is under any incentive not to help each other. So you train with people, you get to know them really well, and then if you have a problem, you phone up your friend and they will give you 30 minutes and talk you through it and what they did in the same situation and how they dealt with it. And actually that, I think, is a great advantage of the no billable hours culture and how that plays out in practice. And I guess the third thing is probably just I really like the people I work with. I think there are a lot of really interesting, really nice, really funny people. And it's a challenging job, it's long hours sometimes. There's no FaceTime culture, so if there's nothing to do, you get to go home, which is really good. But also I think, when you are doing a late night or you are working really hard, I think liking the people you work with is really important. So what's our wider culture like? We have a series of different networks. So I think there are eight different networks in the firm to support different groups. So, for example, there's an LGBT group. There's a sort of Jewish network, Muslim network. There's a gender diversity network. So there are networks within the firm to help different communities and people with similar interests meet and find support. And I think also there are a series of programs that we have in place to help people not just once they're in the building, but to get through the door. So I think social mobility is a really big focus, which I think is great, because I think it's really sort of heartening to see that people are taking it seriously, and people are really keen to get people from different backgrounds and different experiences through the door, because everybody's got something of value to bring to the table. So I think that's kind of how the culture is reflected. And I think probably our commitment to the culture and seeing more diversity and sort of inclusiveness is actually as a firm, we've made commitments about what we see our promotions looking like. And I guess Solicitors is, the vast majority, not all, the vast majority of our partners train at the firm. And so it's a sort of culture that supports people through from trainee through to partner. And I think one of the big commitments that shows how we value diversity and inclusiveness are that actually we've made commitments to have, by 2027, 40% female partnership promotions, and between 2020 and 2025 for at least 15% of equity partner promotions in kind of the London and Belgian offices to be people of colour. So I think that's really great, because I think we are an equity partnership. So if you're saying the people you're going to be putting at top and owning the business, and those are the commitments you're making, I think that's a really important and good stance for us to be taking and trying to achieve. What advice do I have for aspiring solicitors contemplating a career in the law? So I think my first piece of advice is to have the confidence to apply. It's really intimidating, and I fully understand that. I definitely was incredibly nervous before I submitted training contract applications and vacation scheme applications, because I think it's really easy to assume that everybody who's applying is, there's going to be hundreds of people who are more qualified than you. I just think have the confidence in yourself to give it a go. So I think that would be my first piece of advice. And my second piece of advice is, really think about it and think, am I interested in business? Am I interested in, the law is a really wide profession and there are so many different avenues. So I think if you genuinely enjoy sort of reading business stories, or you find macroeconomic issues really interesting, then a career in commercial law could be a really great fit. If you skip those sections on the news, there are other careers, because I think that you will spend a lot of time doing this job. So having the kind of actual interest in it, I think is really important. So I think those are probably my two pieces of advice, like be confident in yourself and kind of make sure it's sort of your real area of being interested. Yeah, so I can talk about a recent deal that I did, which is probably my last deal I did as an associate. So ASOS did a convertible bond back sort of in April this year, which was really exciting for me because I know who ASOS are as a company, always grown up buying their clothes. So it was really great to get to work for a company that you sort of have a real kind of affinity with. So they did a convertible bond, which is a type of debt instrument that allows bondholders to convert their bonds into equity so that they can become shareholders in the business. So it's a really interesting type of financial product, because actually the risk and reward of holding that type of instrument are slightly different to a normal debt situation. So they've sort of seen it's been a big type of product that we've seen over the pandemic, just because of the investor risk appetite. And it was a great story for ASOS. So what we did on that deal was we worked really closely with the team there, who are fab. So that was really great. They're a brilliant team and they're really great to work with. And we helped them through the process. It was their first capital markets bond issuance. So what we did in our role was sort of talk them through the key documents, talk them through the terms, helped advise them on the sort of technical aspects of how it all worked, what they'd need to do to comply with the bond terms going forwards, and sort of generally making sure that it operated within their group and it wouldn't cause them any problems for plans they may have in the future. Was it always my goal to make partner? I mean, no. I think probably when I started as a trainee, I think my goal was to get to the end of my training contract. And equally, when you're a junior associate, your goal is to sort of keep going. So I think, candidly, no, it sort of wasn't something to be honest, that I thought I would be able to achieve, because you sort of start as a trainee and you look up and the gulf seems so big. You sort of look, you come in and very, very little about what the job involves or what you're doing or anything, and you sort of look up to the partners and you think, oh my goodness, I'll never be in that place, I'll never reach that level. And actually you find over the years, as the years go by, that actually you learn, and the training contract, you learn a huge amount. So 2 years after starting, you're already way ahead of where you started, and that continues throughout your time at the firm. So we have a really short promotions track. So actually the kind of trajectory of learning is really quick, and so you sort of look back and you think, oh my goodness, I can't believe over this short period of time I've learned all these things, and people are asking you questions like, oh, I know these now. So definitely not something I saw in my future when I started at the firm. And then you sort of begin to build confidence and believe in yourself, and I think it's other people in the building sort of start saying to you, you should think about it, this should be on your radar, you should be ambitious for this, you should try for it. And so I think it's a kind of combination of building confidence in yourself, and then actually it's a really supportive environment, and so having the people around you say, you should go for this, you should try for it. And I think so it's definitely been a growth journey, and a kind of really rewarding one, and one that I'm really, really, really proud of myself, without being boasty, but I'm really proud of myself for what I've achieved in my time here. So where is my dream holiday destination? My dream holiday destination is in the Philippines. So I've not been abroad since before the pandemic, and I've spent a lot of time on Instagram looking at really nice white beaches and sort of jungles and all the exotic lovely places with lots of sun. So the Philippines is very high on my radar at the moment, and I've managed to bully my husband into us going on holiday there sort of late next year, because there's a family wedding on his side, and his grandma has promised to organise me a diving trip to go and dive with manta rays as well. So I'm sort of counting down the months, which is about a year, but I'm really, really, really looking forward to that.